Hello, it's 8 o'clock, and so it's time for Tea with a Druid. Do say you're here, and I know from spending the last month watching Teas with a Druid, I know it takes a while to actually find one's way into these shows. So do say where you're from. It'd be lovely to see you, that you're here. And you don't have to, of course, but it'd be great. And it also helps me to know that, oh, Adi from New Zealand, how lovely to see you, Adi. I was with Adi in January down at the big gathering in New Zealand that we had. So it's great to see you here, especially in the light of, what's happened. It's good to be in touch. Coventry and Abruzzo and Tuscany and Denmark and Massachusetts, Michigan. Fantastic. Lovely to see you all here. So, and I'm assuming you can hear me as well. So first of all, I'd like to thank all the presenters who gave us wonderful tea sessions through March, Magical March. Pamela from New Zealand, and Emma from Ireland, and Julie from Australia, and Paul from Ireland. It was fantastic to hear you all. For me, the experience is a bit like going to a Druid ritual where I don't have to do anything, where I'm not asked to fulfill a role. And it's just lovely to join in with everybody and to be a part of the experience and not have the responsibility as well. So thank you all. And so much has happened in this month, hasn't it? The awful events in New Zealand and in Mozambique. The one caused in New Zealand by one person, the events in Mozambique caused by the weather. And all one can do in these situations is to offer whatever practical help one can give and send thoughts of love and healing to all those who have suffered, and to pray and wish that peace on earth would prevail. So this evening, I'd like to pick up on the theme of Paul's session, which I found really good. And I was particularly struck by it because I realized it put me in touch with an assumption that I have about life that I've had since a child, really. And that, let's see if this resonates with you. I'd be interested to hear if it resonates with you, which is that from an early age, I always associated the ordinary with the dull, the tedious, the boring, the uneventful, with stuckness, with stasis. I used to have a strange kind of prayer, almost a wish when I was a kid, which was, dear gods, please don't give me an ordinary life. Please don't give me an ordinary life, because I associated ordinariness with dullness, and with stasis somehow. So one of the reasons I love travel so much is because there's always something new happening. The potential for the extraordinary is always there. And so conversely, I would associate extraordinariness with excitement, beauty in a strange way. When you see something beautiful, you'd say, that's extraordinary. And so the extraordinary, the exotic, the weird even, this concept high weirdness, which is stuff that is really, and I love high weirdness. I even have a book, which I think I showed in one of the early teas, which is called High Weirdness by Mail. Strange stuff you can get in the post. So I've always hugely favored the extraordinary over the ordinary. But what happened in Paul's meditation was his repetition of the word ordinary had this really interesting effect on me. I found it deeply soothing, and it helped me to let go of striving, because if you're attached to the new and the extraordinary, there's a sort of degree of striving involved in that. How can we make today extraordinary? How can we make this meeting between us extraordinary? How can I make this tea tonight extraordinary for you? So there's a kind of pressure there. So every time Paul sat back, and he had a wonderful way of sitting, didn't he? He sat back like this, and he talked in a very measured way. And he just kept using the word ordinary. You sit in your ordinary chair, it's an ordinary day, and so on. And this was absolutely wonderful. I had this wonderful kind of sense of homecoming, really. It was just really fantastic. I felt a kind of integration at some level of my being. So I don't know, does this, I think I did when I was a kid, but as I aged, the ordinary became more associated with security and safety. That's Beth saying that. Yes, and I think Denya is agreeing as well, and Paul's listening to this too. So great. So I wanted to explore this because we're so used in the magical world and in the esoteric and spiritual world to talking about bringing paradoxical elements together or bringing opposites together. But we tend to talk about quite, I suppose, romantic or powerful opposite, male and female, yin and yang, conscious and unconscious. And here Paul was suggesting bringing the ordinary and the extraordinary together. And it's when you bring things together that you have the possibility for growth. Bring, the sperm and the egg together and you have a child. In creativity, you bring the moment of awen, of inspiration, to interact with the field that is your consciousness, and with a bit of like a poem or a piece of art or an idea or a book comes out of it. And so let's have a meditation now where the ordinary and the extraordinary can come together. When I was thinking on this, the Feralt card from the Druidcraft Tarot came to mind. This wonderful image that Will Worthington has done, where I'll try and get it close to you, where you can see the Feralt, the Druid alchemist, and she's mixing a red fluid with a white fluid by Glastonbury. So of course we think of the red and white springs in Glastonbury, and that's the masculine and feminine and so on. And she's magically bringing it together, and the rainbow is also connecting the Tor with some other magical spot too. And the cauldron of Awen is bubbling there. So let's perform this act of magic now, if you're up for it. So let's have a meditation. And as usual, you don't have to do it. You can just sit and watch and maybe decide afterwards whether you want to do it. But otherwise, let's just take the opportunity just to let go. Just to take in a deep breath, hold it for a moment, and then let it out. You might find it helpful to close your eyes to better concentrate on yourself and to become aware of yourself seated in front of your computer or your screen. And at the same time, though, you can allow yourself to sense that perhaps you're becoming seated in the sacred grove, in a clearing in the forest, with the earth beneath you. And you become aware of the earth, and you allow all your troubles and anxieties and tensions just to drift naturally into the earth. And as you breathe in and out, you breathe in the energy of the earth, which flows up into your being, bringing you a sense of calm and stability. You sense all the life in the earth, the water, the minerals, the energies of the earth, bringing you a sense of stability and healing. And you become aware of the trees around you. And you feel and sense how the trees are all rooted deep in this earth. And with a sense of empathy and connection, you can really feel this sense of rootedness of these trees. The roots stretching deep down, bringing the energies of the earth and water up the trunks. And you feel the strength and the protection of the trees, our brothers and sisters on this planet. Their branches stretching high above you. The green leaves giving oxygen that we're breathing in. And you breathe in the energy of the trees, breathing it deep into your being. And sensing too the energy of the sky above you. And you breathe in the energy of the sky. And the energy of the sky brings clarity. And this energy and this clarity meets the energy of the earth within the center of your being. And then as you're seated here in this grove, keeping your physical eyes closed, just imagine, pretend that your inner eyes are opening and you're actually seeing the grove. And you might see things clearly or you might not, doesn't matter. Just imagine you are. Sense the earth. See the earth. Seated here on an ordinary day in the forest, which is also, of course, an extraordinary day with all this life going on. And you see a flower growing just at some distance away. And just open yourself to its beauty. And allow yourself to open to the experience of both its ordinariness, it's just a flower growing there, but how extraordinary it is too. That these two qualities exist within this one beautiful object in front of you. And then look around the grove, and it's possible that you'll see a bird just flying into the clearing, landing on the ground just a little distance from you. And sense the gift that this bird has for you just by being itself, just by being there. How the extraordinary and the ordinary is combined in this bird too. And now imagine that you're leaning forward and placing the palms of your hands on the earth. And just notice what you can feel through the palms of your hands. And see if you can sense the energy flowing from your left palm up your left arm to your heart. Just a subtle sense of energy flowing up from the earth through your left palm. And now move your focus to the right palm. No need to strain. Just be open to any subtle sense of energy, just flowing from the right palm up towards your heart. And then imagine bringing your palms together, lifting them off the earth in the Namaste position, the prayer position. A blessing on our lives, a blessing on the land, a blessing on all lands. And then you might like to touch the palms of your hands to your heart, becoming aware of your body, becoming aware of being seated in the grove, knowing you can return to this place at any time, breathing in deeply, breathing out deeply, and slowly allowing your awareness of the grove to fade as you become aware of being seated here in front of your computer or your screen, letting your awareness of the grove fade, becoming fully present here and now. And I'm going to finish with a little prayer that came to me, which I'll express for myself, because this is a feeling that I want to express. You may not want to express it, so I'm not, but if it works for you, that's great. And I'll put it on the blog post as well. May the ordinary and the extraordinary live in my heart forever, as lovers, as friends, so close that they are often indistinguishable from each other. In my left hand, the ordinary, in my right hand, the extraordinary. Namaste. And that prayer came to me as following on from a contemplation of the Ferald card, of this idea of two energies, two forces, two ideas, two elixirs being brought together. So thank you so much. Rosemary says, an ordinary dandelion and an ordinary sparrow visited. Lovely. So great to see you all here. And I'll put those thoughts up on the blog with that prayer as well. I'll make a cup of tea and I'll come back to your comments. And my plan is to be with you through April, and then for May to have Mystical May, where we have another series of guests. So thank you very much for watching and listening and being here. And it's a lovely feeling. Each guest, interestingly enough, despite the strangeness of doing these broadcasts, the oddity of sitting in front of your computer on your own, sort of talking out like this, every guest who I've invited on wants to do it again, which is a good sign, I think. So so that's great. So lots of love to you. Many, many blessings, and see you again next Monday. Okay, bye.